Hey everyone, and welcome 8th graders to today's Explainer. I am so excited to be your guide today as we, literally look up at the skies to discover exactly what goes into predicting the weather. But look, we aren't just going to stare at clouds and read thermometers today. We're actually going to explore how the super meticulous science of reading the skies applies directly to how we navigate our daily lives. Okay, let's dive right in. So, picture this. Have you ever been walking home from school, or maybe you're hanging out at a park with your friends, when suddenly, boom, the sky just opens up and you get absolutely soaked? Like, your shoes are completely ruined, your backpack is drenched, and it's all because you didn't check the weather. It's literally the worst feeling, right? Well, that exact memory highlights exactly why preparation is so absolutely crucial and why understanding our atmosphere is just a massive part of living in this world. Here's a really quick roadmap for our explainer today. We're going to cover 1. The science of forecasting. 2. Tools of the trade. 3. Reading weather maps. 4. Why forecasting matters. 5. The spiritual forecast. And finally, number 6. Education, morality, and peace. All right, let's jump right into our very first section. Section 1, the science of forecasting. Basically, the what of weather prediction. You know, forecasting isn't just looking up at a dark cloud and making a random guess. Not at all. As a really rigorous science, forecasting is the use of hard scientific data and incredibly advanced tools to predict how the atmosphere is going to move. And the ultimate goal here, it isn't just to tell you if you need a jacket. It's really to protect communities and help people actually plan their lives. It's all about data and protection, definitely not magic or luck. So, if it isn't magic, how exactly do they pull it off? That brings us to Section 2, Tools of the Trade, where we look at gathering vital data. To get a truly full picture of the atmosphere, scientists need eyes literally everywhere. They use massive satellites orbiting way out in space, taking pictures of cloud formations. Then, down here on the ground, they rely on Doppler radar systems to track rain and wind speeds. Get this, they even launch high-altitude weather balloons that can soar up to 100,000 feet into the sky to gather data right through the clouds. Pair all that with ground-based weather stations right in our own neighborhoods, and wow, the technology required to capture a complete picture of our atmosphere is just mind-blowing. But the really crucial part is what happens with all that information once they have it. After those satellites, balloons, and radars collect millions, and I mean millions of data points on temperature, humidity, winds, and air pressure, they feed the whole shebang directly into these massive supercomputers. These computer models then run incredibly complex simulations to mathematically predict exactly what the atmosphere is going to do next, whether that's a short-term heads-up or a long-range forecast. Okay, so how does that translate into what you actually see on TV? Let's check out Section 3, Reading Weather Maps, Translating the Data. When you see a big blue H on a weather map, that stands for high pressure, which usually means clear, really beautiful skies. Just think H for happy weather. On the flip side, a red L stands for low pressure. And low pressure, well, that often brings clouds, rain, and precipitation. So think L for lousy weather. It's a super handy, quick memory trick you can use the very next time you check a forecast. But remember, weather patterns don't just stay still. Those high and low pressure systems are constantly on the move. They're being pushed and pulled all across the globe by huge global winds, massive jet streams, and shifting weather fronts. When we study all this moving around, it's actually a perfect chance to just marvel at God's wisdom. I mean, He created a world and an atmosphere with such deeply complex planetary cycles and systems that even the clouds themselves require our careful study to truly understand. Which brings us right to Section 4, Why Forecasting Matters. Let's look at some real-world actions. See, there's a really direct connection between a weather forecast and a real-world action. For example, if a Doppler radar detects the strong rotation of a tornado, well, governments can issue an early warning, which gives people the chance to seek shelter immediately and save lives. Or on a much smaller scale, if a rainy day is forecasted, you take the simple action of bringing an umbrella to school. If heavy rains are predicted to make rivers rise, communities know they need to get out there and build sandbag barriers ahead of time. Essentially, an early warning directly translates to life-saving or at least day-saving actions. Now, we're going to make a bit of a pivot here. Let's move into Section 5, the spiritual forecast, looking at the signs in life. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 12 gives us an absolutely incredible, powerful truth. It says, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it." Think about that. Just like a tornado warning tells us to take cover from a physical storm, the Bible alerts us to spiritual truths and hidden dangers that we really need to act on. Being prudent simply means paying close attention to those warnings and actually doing something about them. Just as meteorologists read the sky and use hard scientific data to protect us against physical storms, we have a real spiritual responsibility to read God's word to prepare for life's inevitable challenges. Studying the signs in the sky is kind of exactly like listening for God's guidance in our everyday lives. Forecasting essentially trains us to pay attention to signs. It's all about being watchful, wise, and totally ready for whatever comes our way. And this leads us perfectly into our final section, Section 6. Education, morality, and peace. Let's bring it all together. I want you to really consider these two diverging paths. Honestly, what is the point of being smart and highly educated if you just continue to make bad choices that end up hurting you and the people around you? But when we see education paired with morality, just as it's promised in Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7, it brings true, deep peace of mind to everyone who chooses to keep their minds spiritual. And that is exactly what the HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners series is all about. It beautifully intertwines biblical morality with your education. Because, yeah, learning the hard science of meteorology is wonderful, but pairing that knowledge with the biblical morality of stewardship and watchfulness, that means you're fully equipped to navigate both the physical world and your spiritual life, allowing you to experience true, lasting peace of mind. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. What signs is God showing you right now, and how will you use wisdom to plan your upcoming week? I want you to go out and be an observant meteorologist of your own spiritual life. Pay close attention, prepare well, and go make it a fantastic, incredibly wise week ahead.